Hey guys, welcome back again to Dave's Dimension. Welcome back again for another video. So we have yet another unbox to do. I want to welcome you guys to Dave's Dimension, the channel where chaos and insanity reigns supreme. What do we have this time, guys? Well, let's see. Now, you guys know I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I mean, hello, all the DeLoreans and the figures I have up there. Finally got my hands on Doc Brown. This is the NECA, N-E-C-A brand version of Doc Brown from 1955. We got a nice little image of his desk with his goggles, his brain, his little psychic device, which never fully worked. A little pen, drawing of the flux capacitor, a wrench, the flyer that Marty gave Doc that had the information of when the lightning strike would hit the clock tower. And let's read it back. This is NECA's ultimate Doc Brown. Marty, McFly, and Doc Brown experience the adventure of a lifetime in an unlikely time machine as they travel to the past, present, and future, setting off a time-shattering chain reaction that disrupts the space-time continuum. Now, it shows here the 35th anniversary figures. Of course, we have Marty from 1985, Marty in a radiation suit, 2015 Marty, Doc from 1955, and Biff. And guess what? Now with this one, I have them all, guys. At least what they have so far. Now, what does Doc come with? Well, he's got a few different things in here. We have the goggles that will go on his head. We have a pipe wrench, and we have two different hands because he's got his gloved hands, but then you have two hands both with a separate watch on each one. We also have a secondary Doc Brown head that we can swap out. And let's see, I believe there's some other items in here, so let's just get right to it, guys. My bat knife. Don't fight evildoers without it. So, let's crack this open. Let's give it a nice good on review. And for once we have papers and stuff in here. Okay, what do we have? We got just a little background which shows a picture of Doc's house. I would love to check that house out someday, but I know that the inside was completely remodeled, but it would still be cool nonetheless to see the outside of it. And speaking of the house, it includes a nice little blueprint of the house, which is weird because I don't recall seeing blueprints of the house. I have to rewatch the intro to Back to the Future 1 to see if it's something that's... Because in 1985, Doc no longer has the house. There was a big fire. And he only has the garage, and he sold off the rest of the property to afford his lifestyle and also to afford building a new car, the DeLorean itself. I don't recall seeing the blueprints of it, but I mean, this is, I would love to scan this and then get enlarged to see if there's a to get like maybe a nice size frame to hang it up with. But this is nice. I mean, this is the scale for his figure. Obviously it would look like a full-size blueprint. I definitely want to do a scan and see if I can enlarge it to make it a bit more legible. Also, what else do you get? Well, you get the envelope that Marty wrote, "Do not open until 1985." The warning letter to Doc about the Libyans who would shoot him. And of course also we get the drawing of the flux capacitor, which makes time travel possible, guys. So those are some cool things. Definitely some cool items. And the envelope just fell into my drill box. Now, what I often recommend for accessories is get yourself a nice little plastic case to hold all your various accessories in, guys. That's what I tend to do. With Biff, he had his little lockbox. So that's where I could keep a lot of the accessories like the sports almanac and such in there. Wow, that was on there pretty damn good. The ties that were around his legs. Now, I've had a few friends tell me that they loved their docks. I was holding off on this, and then a friend of mine actually came across this at a local Target. Now, we're on the East Coast. A lot of times, these items hit the West Coast first. I wasn't too sure when or if we would get any. I was actually contemplating ordering it on Walmart.com, because I know Walmart has it for $29.99. That seems to be the best price going so far. But if you do go that route, try it. I know a lot of sites, a lot of companies will do, if you spend X amount of dollars, you get free shipping. That's probably going to be your best bet. That's what I would recommend anyways, guys. Almost there, guys. Almost. Now, NECA has done some amazing figures before. I have a Ash Army of Darkness. I love him. I love the other Back to the Future figures that we've had. And also the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie figures. And here is the Doc. Now, I like what they do with the texture of the coat. I mean, this is not complete hard plastic. This is, I don't think you can call it a vinyl, but I mean, it's got flex to it, guys. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do here. I mean, this is Christopher Lloyd. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's him to a T. They really did him some justice. The pattern on his shirt, everything's looking fantastic. We got Doc with the gloves because that's what he was wearing at the clock tower. Of course, if you've had a NECA figure before, you get the same range of motion you do with just about all the figures. You get some rotation, not a full 360 degrees, maybe about 180. He's got his arm, his elbow joints here. Now, I will say this, with some of the NECA figures, you have to be very careful, guys. If the arms can be very stiff. If it feels like that they don't want to move, you may want to take a hair dryer at very low heat and just kind of like slowly go over it. You don't want it up against the figure, guys. You're going to melt the hell out of it, okay? You want to do a low gradual heat just to kind of loosen up the joints. I mean, I'm holding the figure like this. Let's say lay him on your counter, your table, and, you know, a good, you know, maybe a good foot and a half away. Just allow the heat to kind of slowly soften, maybe less than a foot. You don't want it too close because you can cause some damage, okay? One of the biggest issues with metals and other materials, you know, when you warm something up or when you freeze something, it expands. Perfect example, if you ever took a styrofoam cup or Dixie cup, you fill it with water, you put it in your fridge, it expands. You don't see that with ice cubes because, well, the ice cube is solid plastic. It's not going to expand, okay? But if you have a cup, something a little bit soft, more malleable, where its shape can move and alter, you're going to experience that, guys. So here's Doc. There he is. 1955 Doc, and I love that they did the tear effect on his pants. Now, in case you're wondering what this is and you're not familiar with that little tear is when Doc is at the top of the clock tower trying to reconnect the cables, and the one cable falls and it catches his pant leg, and it's literally hanging by threads on his pant leg, and he's got to try and reach and grab the cable back up to reconnect it. But then when he does that, the cable at the end of the ground near the tree is caught on a tree, and then he's got to basically zip line, which is why he's got his gloves. You know, it's not coincidence he's wearing gloves. It was for a good reason. But I like that they also have just the bare hands when Doc is going, damn, where's that kid? Damn, where's that kid? You know, waiting for Marty to return from the dance so that Marty can go back to the future. I also love the shocked look of Doc's face here. I'm going to pop his head out. And just to show you, I mean, this is, they have the groove, so obviously he's going to be able to move his head around. The texture on the hair is just, I mean, it's phenomenal. The paints, the applications on here are just tremendous. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Move my head out of the way so the camera will focus. And there we go. So this is Doc, and he's not wearing his bandage like he is here. No bandage on this one, so obviously this falls off when he's ziplining. He's got this stunned look. All in all, this is pretty damn good. Oh wow! I just noticed they actually did the herringbone pattern on his socks there. I'm trying to get the C922 camera to focus here. One of the big problems is the way these cameras are designed. If you see a human face, it'll focus on a human than it will on any other objects. I don't have that problem with the S21, but there's a nice little black herringbone pattern on the socks. That pretty much, it's herringbone is, it's almost like a diagonal kind of zigzag pattern that you see on clothes. Usually you see it more like finer dress socks. But I mean, this was an average fashion statement back then, back in the 50s. So, which head am I probably going to keep it on? I'm probably going to keep the original head on there. Unless I'm doing some kind of a pose where I want the shocked look. Now, what else does it come with? It comes with the two hands. As I said, they have their little watches on them. Comes with a little pipe wrench. And of course we have Doc's goggles. We're going to see if I can... I really don't think I'm going to get them on his head because of his face. The sheer volume of the hair, this will not slide over. I think this is more meant to be around his neck. Head comes right off. So we're just going to kind of slide it around his neck and pop his head back on. Let's put the other head on. Let's see if I can get this on or not. We're not going to spend the entire day on this, guys. If I can't get this on, we're just going to remove the goggles until a time when I can get them on. Yeah, we're not going to play around with those. I'm just going to put his head back on. There we go. So there's Doc with his shocked look. There we go. I mean, they got his jaw, his mouth. I mean, that's just, it's insane. I really can't wait to do some things with this. Like, I want to do a pose with Marty from 85 with this Doc. I want to see if maybe I can get Doc holding the letter. We'll see if that's a possibility. Now, one thing I would have thought would have been cool is if they could have made it so they had the molding of the pocket on there. On the front of his coat right there. If they could have made that an actual slot for storage. So you can put the letter. So you can put the letter in there. That would be a great thing to do. I mean, realistically, I don't, they would have to put some kind of extra pattern or extra molding on there so they can apply the slit so you can slide it right into his pocket. But, I get it. Cost efficiency and all. But all in all, if you're a Back to the Future fan, guys, you need the doc. I'm hoping that they're going to do some more docs. I mean, I at least want them to do either. I mean, they did radiation suit Marty. They should do radiation suit Doc, the white radiation suit, or at the very least, give us Back to the Future 2 Doc with the futuristic outfit with the clear necktie. I think would be pretty cool. I am hoping, since they did Back to the Future 1 and 2, NECA, could you please give us Back to the Future 3? All I want is Marty in a Clint Eastwood outfit and Doc in his train outfit. Just give me those two. I'll be happy. We don't need Marty in the 1955 Wild West clothes. But I would love the other ones I just mentioned. Doc in his outfit, like when and with the rifle too. If you guys can do the rifle, when he saves Marty's life. And also Marty in his Clint Eastwood outfit. I think that would be phenomenal, guys. Just phenomenal. I know there are already people in the Back to the Future community who's gotten extras of the figures and have actually altered them and made their own customs. I mean, guys, if you're going to give us part 1 and part 2, you might as well give us part 3. And if at all possible, if you can make some slight improvements to the first DeLorean you did and give us a good, decent one that's to scale. Now, if you guys can see here, on my shelf there, where's my remote? Here's my remote. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't turn the lights on. Okay. Right there, you can see that DeLorean that Marty's right next to. That's not the NECA one. The NECA one is actually right up top, right next to the bar, right before you see the Playmobil one right there. That one right there is the NECA, and it is a smaller scale. I mean, I'm sure you guys can see. Compare that to the one down there. The one down there is a much better one. It's about maybe a tenth or two more scale-wise, closer to the figures than the other ones are. The figures don't fit inside, but we don't need it to fit inside. But if you guys do, NECA, I swear, if you do a part 3 DeLorean, I really hope you do, you got to do it more justice. The back license plate decal for this one, for the NECA, came right off. Please, if you do the DeLorean, the part 3 DeLorean, please get it as close as possible. We need a Mr. Fusion on the back of it. We need the 1950s wheels, the white walls, with the nice little dome-like mirror rim, and just give us something a little extra. I mean, was it Welly and so many other ones have made some amazing screen accurate looking vehicles for us. I'm sure you guys can do that. One little one-off one, it would be great. It would be fantastic. So that's really the comparison right now. I mean, this is the same scale as the other figures. If you've seen my videos. I mean, let's grab Marty right now, guys. Marty with his backpack. Marty and Doc right there, guys. I mean, there they are. Same level. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's pretty tall. I know for a fact because I did get to meet him a couple years ago at Niagara Falls Comic Con. You guys have probably seen the. Let me see. I probably can't get that right now. You see, I got my little banners right there, all my Back to the Future stuff up there, and there's a picture of me next to the DeLorean with Christopher Lloyd. I mean, I was there. That's actually the con that I unveiled the Flux pack, the Back to the Future Ghostbuster Proton pack that I made. I unveiled that one there, and just so happens Christopher Lloyd was there. I was hoping that I'd had the chance to get a picture taken. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it. I mean, he's the Doc. I mean, if you have the chance to meet one of your heroes, for lack of a better wording, you kind of have to go for it, guys. You really do. He was just, I mean, you know, obviously he's getting up in the years, and I'm like, if I don't jump on this chance to meet him and get a picture taken with him, I might not have this chance again. So I did. And he obviously, you could tell he wasn't exactly great, or his voice was a little sore, probably from talking and meeting people. And they had us in a line and came up, and they said, oh, you'll pose with them, you can say thank you or whatever you want, and then you'll move on. We have a lot of people, so I understood that. And I posed with him. I knelt down on my knee. It was a little hard because, well, I was a much larger person. At that time, I was probably about 470, 480. And now I'm 340. So I was much bigger. And I was roasting in that suit. It was like easily 90 degrees that day. It was like 80, 85 inside a place. And I'm wearing a flight suit. Not a standard flight suit, but a custom made one. So it was more insulated, and I was roasting. I was sweating buckets like there was no tomorrow. But I wasn't wearing the pack at the time because my back was it was killing me bad, because not because of the weight of the pack, but because of my health and my heavy body, my asthma, which I've been working on that, guys. So I had my Back to the Future Ghostbuster patch on, and I posed with them, and they took the picture, and then I shook his hand. I said, "Thank you, Mr. Lloyd." And he was like, "You're welcome." I mean, obviously, he was probably very parched. It was very hot that day. I'm glad to see that he's still making the rounds to cons and talk shows and getting around. I mean, he's been acting for so many years. I mean, as early, at least that I can recall, as early as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. I mean, he's played various characters in movies going from the 70s through the 80s. He's still around kicking, and I mean, anything that he appears in, I have to watch. I loved when he was on Spin City with Michael J. Fox. He made an appearance there. He was on the last season or second last season of 12 Monkeys, which was on Sci-Fi Channel. I mean, he's just a great actor, and he's always generous to his fans. I mean, I could not be any more happier than that, guys. And I love that I have this immortalization, if you will, of Christopher Lloyd. And I mean, I would love to meet him again someday. Now that I'm thinner, I would love to get another picture with him, but I would love to just shake his hand and let him know that he's had a lifelong fan right here. Sometimes that's all we want, is to meet our heroes. Sometimes meeting your heroes aren't always the best thing, but I've had some really great opportunities. I met a few actors that I looked up to. I met Paul McGann from Doctor Who. He was the 8th Doctor. Also got to meet Peter Capaldi. He's probably out of the people who I've met, he's probably my favorite. I mean, big time actors, done so many different roles. The wife and I, we went and met him. We did a photo op with him because he was the 12th Doctor, and I had a sonic screwdriver. I was dressed up as number 11. He takes my sonic screwdriver, says, "Are you ready to save the universe?" That Scottish accent, he was just awesome. And, we took the picture. I said, thank you, Mr. Capaldi. He's like, "Call me Peter." I mean, he was so down to earth. And I said, "Well, thank you very much. You're my wife's favorite doctor." And my wife was just about out of the area where we were taking a picture. And he says, "Well, she's got to come back over here for a hug." So my wife was like in shock. I was like, "Dear, come back over." He gives her a big hug, and she was like, "Oh my God," because that was her favorite doctor. Ironically, that was our 1-year anniversary when we went to this con with some friends, and that's the one person my wife really wanted to meet or get a picture with, and we did, and then we got an autograph later on. It was, those kinds of experiences. That's why so many people are missing the cons right now, because it's the experiences of some of the celebrity interactions. It's a chance to step out of your own skin for a moment. Dress up as your favorite hero or heroine, your favorite character, whether it's a bad guy or a good guy or somebody who's in between. That's what really boils down to. It's about having some fun, a little bit of escape from your life, and having a good old time. But then when you have a great experience like that with a celebrity, it just blows you away. My wife got a my wife had asked him for an autograph. And he said, "Oh, I remember you from earlier from the picture." And he had his stock photos, and then he has, you can just bring an item and sign it. He wrote a friggin' paragraph on my wife's photo. Telling him, because he remembered that we mentioned it was our anniversary weekend, and he wrote this very nice, sweet, long. I'm just paraphrasing. Basically, he says, you both are going to have a wonderful life. I know this because I'm the doctor. I've been to the future. I mean, it was this very sweet, awesome moment. And I mean, I would love to get an autograph from Christopher Lloyd because I'm sure he would write something along those lines. I mean, there's a big comparison between Christopher Lloyd and Peter Capaldi because they're seasoned actors who've been around Hollywood, who've been around the world, acted in plays, shows, movies. They've been doing this for so many years, and obviously they have these elevated lives, but they talk to you like regular, like they're your next door neighbor. They're an occasional family friend. That's the best experiences you can ask for, guys. And trust me, when my friend messaged me and says, "Oh, I'm at Target and they have Doc Brown. Do you want me to pick him up for you?" That was a no-brainer. I had to. Once again, the Doc. 1955 Doc. I really hope, at the very least, NECA, I hope that you jump up and do at least the Back to the Future 3 Doc. Honestly, I love all three movies. The first one always because that's the beginning of the story. But the third one, I've always had a kind of a soft spot for the Old West. And it was, to me, part 3 was not a repeat of the first one. It was a big departure. It was, Marty could have went back to 85, done what Doc wanted, but he realized that Doc wasn't going to have an actual life. So he risks everything to go back to the Old West and save his friend. But this time, it's his friend who falls in love. It's his friend who is unsure about returning to the future, or if he even should. And I mean, they really elevated Doc's character in part 3. Doc was dealing with emotions, and when we first meet Doc in the first one, he's this wild-eyed scientist, these big dreams of time travel. And then we go back to 1955, and he's this guy who really, he talks about rhythmic events with dancing. It was, he was, obviously he didn't have the big social skills like most people would. Compare Doc to Marty, and it's like night and day. And I love that it was Doc kind of falling in love, and you're seeing this completely different side to Doc Brown. The character of Doc, not to be funny, is an onion. You got layers to an onion, and I really liked how they expanded his character over time. So, I really love this, and I really hope NECA comes up with a Back to the Future 3 figure. I really hope. I mean, you did part 1 and part 2. Come on, guys. Give us part 3. You could do Biff, well, I should say Mad Dog Tannen. Give us that. Give us Doc. Maybe even Clara. Come on. Why not? They didn't give us a Jennifer, which, I mean, you kind of have to decide, well, if they do a Jennifer, which one is it going to be, Claudia Wells or Elizabeth Shue? I'm fine without having either of them. I mean, Jennifer really came off as a small character. No disrespect to either actress or how the character was written. That's just how it was portrayed in the movies. I would love to see them do maybe a Clara, because one, she was a big driving force for part 3. She was a big part of it. The whole plot is Doc falls in love, but then he's shot in 7 days. So, come on, guys, give us some of that. So, I mean, that would be really cool. And I mean, they gave us 1885 Doc. I have the hoverboard from Marty 2015, and I could just slap that on him when he saves Clara, and they kind of float off into the distance. That would be great. Also, NECA, if you could somehow pull off the train from part 3, that would be on my wish list. I've never been able to obtain any kind of no one's really done models or diecast versions of the train. I would really love that. set it up so you have some wiring so the lights, the flux capacitor on the front of the train lights up, that would be great. Maybe even in some kind of a liquid smoke like you have in little HOs and N-scale trains for those who do model railroads. That'd be great. I mean, those are little things that would really blow your fans away. Yeah, it would cost a little bit more, but people would jump on it. As a big Ghostbuster fan, I dropped $200 on the Lego Ghostbusters, the Ecto-1 Afterlife Edition. I dropped $50 on the Plasma Series Ecto. You got the fan base out there, guys. Hasbro Pulse does this thing where they do their HasLabs, where they'll suggest, oh, we have this proposed project, but in order for us to move forward, we need you to do some pre-orders, and if we meet our limit, then 1, you're going to get that item, obviously, and 2, we're going to build it. If there's not enough interest, we're not going to do it, and you're not charged. That's how they do it. So, NECA, you could do something like that. There's enough interest in there that I know you guys can pull it off. So, there we are. We got Doc Brown from 1955. So right now the collection is complete. The figures from NECA are complete right now, and I didn't go for the animated ones because some of the drawings, like the texture, the shading, just it doesn't look right to me. It looks a little off. That's just me. I would love it if they would. Now, when NECA first unveiled their line of Back to the Future items, they did give us a little glimpse at a potential animated DeLorean. The DeLorean from the cartoon. They did not release that car. If they would have, I would have been on that like there's no tomorrow, guys. I really would have. But unfortunately, they didn't. So there we are. That's my review of the NECA Doc Brown 1955. So tell me, what do you guys think of it? Do you like it? Do you think it's an okay item? Do you think it's top notch? To me, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's definitely a 10. I am so pleased with this. I mean, it just looks fantastic. Now, I will say this. I would have given it an 11. I would have liked it if they would have had the cables that connect. If they would have had like 2 straight cables with the connector so you could recreate Doc plugging it in, I would have loved that. That would have been top notch. I mean, it would have been just a little extra accessory. I mean, we really don't see Doc with this in the movie. So, I mean, they could have substituted this for that. I mean, I get that this was a nice little effect since you have the image of the house in the background of inside the box, which is great. But that's my only other suggestion. So, there we are, guys. As always, if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. If you have some criticisms, some thoughts, some concerns, some basic questions about the figure or anything else, please drop it in the comments section below. And as always, you can always reach me at davesdimension78@gmail.com. So, until next time, keep on busting, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.